There was a story about a missionary's wife. The city of Shenkyu in central China, Henan province. It was at the time of the Japanese invasion of China during World War II. The Japanese were approaching this city. They were very near, only 2 or 3 days away. The Chinese colonel came to the mission compound and told the pastor's wife that she had better leave, as he had received orders not to defend the city against the Japanese. The pastor, a medical missionary, had been taken to a hospital, himself ill. He was 105 miles away and would not be back for perhaps a month. His wife was by herself, with a baby girl 2 months old and a son just over 1 year. There began an exodus from the city. The elders of the church came and invited her to go with them to their villages. The Ai were very kind and gracious people. But she had these 2 babies, and she knew that the village homes of these people were vermin-infested and full of germs. Western babies lacked the necessary immunity. There had been many deaths among missionaries' children exposed to conditions in the villages. Therefore, this missionary's wife was afraid to take her babies into those houses. So she remained in the city, alone, one American woman with 2 babies. The gatekeeper, her last protection, came and said that he too must leave. The poor woman was filled with fear, alone, unprotected, in bitter January weather, with the enemy approaching. She went to the kitchen sink to fix a bottle for the baby. Her hands were cold. She shook so from fear that the bottle almost fell from her hands. Then she saw above the sink the Bible text calendar. It was January 16, 1941, and beneath the date she read these words from Psalm 56:3. "What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee." She was astonished, but strangely comforted. All that night she kept her 2 little ones huddled close to her to keep them warm. She lay awake, listening to the wind rattle the paper window panes in the bamboo frames, praying to God who, all the time she was afraid, would be with her. It was noon before she remembered to pull the page off the little daily calendar. The 10th verse of the 9th Psalm read, "And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee, for thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee." As she bowed her head over her noonday meal, she thanked God for those particular words at that moment. When the following morning came, she realized that she was without food. All the stores were empty or closed, for there was no food coming in from the countryside. All she had were the goats, but she did not know how to milk them. Once again, fear clutched at her throat. How would she feed these children? She pulled off the calendar page for January 17th, and believe it or not, under the date of January 18th were these words, "I will nourish you and your little ones." Genesis 50:21. This modernly trained woman, schooled in the new thinking, asked herself, is this only a coincidence?
There was a rap at the door. It was a little Chinese woman, Mrs. Lee, a longtime neighbor. "We knew you would be hungry," she said, "and you didn't know how to milk the goats. So I have milked your goats. Here is milk for your children." Presently, another little woman came, holding a live chicken by the legs, and also carrying some eggs. Once again, the pastor's wife looked at the words, "I will nourish you and your little ones."
That night, her heart was full of hope. To the sound of shells bursting in the sky, she prayed that somehow God would spare the city and the gentle people whom these missionaries loved. The next morning she rushed to the little square of paper hanging on the nail and tore off the page. "When I cry unto thee, then shall mine enemies turn back. This I know, for God is for me." Psalm 56:9. This time it seemed too much to believe. Surely a verse chosen by chance for an English calendar couldn't be taken literally. And another fear clutched her. The Japanese army. What would they do with one lone, defenseless woman? She went through her husband's papers, destroying any that might be construed to incriminate her. She could hear the sound of gun feet coming closer and closer. She went to sleep that night, fully dressed, prepared at any moment to meet the Japanese invaders.
She awoke in the early dawn expecting to hear rough shoes on the gravel, marching troops. But instead there was a deep quietness. She cautiously went to the gate and watched as the streets began to fill, not with Japanese soldiers, but with townspeople coming back into the city. That Chui colonel reappeared and said to her, "We don't understand it. The Japanese were headed for this city. They were going to take it. Suddenly they turned aside. We didn't defeat them. That Chui just went another way and left us unoccupied."
Will you try to explain this away, handle it on an intellectual basis? I could do that too. I could rip it all to pieces as just pure coincidence. But when you come right down to it, what is coincidence? It is an act of God in the midst of time.